All right, really looking forward to this particular segment here. We were looking on social media for things to talk about for this episode, and I saw this link. And Chelsea Ansim, someone that we got on in the previous episode of Evenings with John and Duncan in the Athletes Game Show, she came up. Well, I'm not sure if she originated with this, but she definitely did the best example of the no hands challenge. And I sent it to you and I said, very interesting challenge. Maybe we should have a go at this. But first of all, let's have a look at what the no hands challenge is all about. Here is Chelsea Ansim. It's almost freaky how she managed to do that.
Yeah, and she did it in a matter of seconds.
Yes.
It's and the funny thing is she tagged some of her friends to do it. Not many dared to do it.
Yeah.
I believe she may have asked Delvin to do it. I'm not sure if Delvin actually did it, but this is one of her friends attempting the no hands challenge. Yep, it certainly looked a lot tougher than it seems.
Looks very, very uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable.
He's trying to do the splits.
I just think certain sports, it's easier for you to do splits. If you do taekwondo, you do gymnastics, and I don't know what else, ballet. But certainly for guys, I do think it's going to be a bigger obstacle that you have to overcome in order to get
He
to do
did
some
a good
splits.
job mopping the floor with that attempt.
Yeah, certainly. He
And also
did.
we have a special friend of the show, Felicia, who did her very own version of the no hands challenge, and we're going to embarrass her right now.
Yeah, and this is Felicia's version of the no hands challenge.
So the no hands challenge made very simple by Chelsea Ansim. Her friends not able to replicate it. But John, it's up to you to show whether you are able to do the no hands challenge. So please find your yoga mat there and do your best to,
This is me giving the no hands challenge.
Are you going to do
try.
the Chelsea style or?
I don't know. I shall see. It's first you gotta go face down.
Face down,
like
hands
this.
behind your back.
Hands behind your back.
Yeah, and it's just core and lower back. That's
I don't know why I'm
trying to do the
doing
splits.
this.
You're trying the splits. You're trying it. Get up. Whoa. Plenty of back action. Using your forehead and liking that. You might have an imprint on your face later on, but John Yeong does it. Fantastic. No
Zero
hands
flexibility.
challenge. All right. Social
Now,
distancing, so we're going to
Duncan
go
is gonna
one
try
round.
and give this a try.
I do not favor my odds. But,
Oh, let's do
we're
this.
game, right?
This is fun.
Anything
This is all
for
thing.
television.
Anything for television. This is Evenings with John and Duncan. As usual, us making a fool of ourselves for you.
So you did.
Is this Duncan?
You did the back.
First attempt at the no hands challenge. He's it's looked like he's trying to crawl out of bed. Doing nice turn there. Twist and turn. Oh, he's gonna do it. He's gonna make it. Woo! And Duncan does it as well.
I have pulled many muscles
We
recreating that.
have proved that you do not need to have the flexibility of a ballerina, a gymnast, or a taekwondo exponent to do this.
And now a surprise for you, Kelly and Barbara. Watching this, you thought we will not challenge you on Evenings with John and Duncan. Well, we have. The contest is on. Can you do it live on television, live on TV? The Kelly and Barbara show, morning show. Can you do the no hands challenge?
No hands challenge. The challenge is on.
Our next segment is one that is challenge that's done by Chris Yip Ao,
Okay.
who was recently tagged by a social service group. I believe the name is Bell Impact, and
Okay.
it's basically a challenge where you do jumping jacks.
All right.
And it's called the +5 jumping jacks challenge,
Okay.
where every day you do 5 jumping jacks till June. So if you do 5 today, you do 10 tomorrow, 15 the next day,
Wow.
and you tag your friends. So in the words of Chris Yip Ao, she basically saboed her friends in this.
That's a lot of jumping jacks to reach until June 1st. That
Yeah.
means you just up it every day, but a +5.
Yes. And we have seen a similar challenge going around, but that's for push-ups.
Yeah.
And that was done by Justin Lloyd, Kelly's
Yes.
husband. And I was I don't know whether to say it, fortunate or unfortunate enough to be tagged in it.
Yeah.
So by right, I should have been continuing the challenge, but I stopped.
Why haven't you, John? Why haven't you?
Would you like me to tag you in the challenge?
I would not. It's okay. We are busy.
We're busy
producing
people.
the show.
Busy people.
Yes.
To be honest, I did attempt it for a few days.
Yes.
Until work kind of got a bit too much for me.
Yep.
But
It's the thought that counts.
it's the thought that
It's the thought
counts.
that
And it's definitely a great thing to see so many fitness challenges going around online this
Yeah.
period. And people are taking to keeping an active lifestyle,
Yeah.
even though they're stuck at home.
Speaking of, it's the thought that counts. I try to get to work early every day, but I'm late, and I just tell my boss, I tried to. It's the thought that counts, and it's because it's been raining, John. It's been raining crazily every morning here in Singapore, and I think it gives a very special chance for people to bring out the creative side with the rain, with water, and our very good friend Sydney Kumar has got a very special shampoo ad, and he's shown that he's maybe perhaps a good ambassador for shampoos in the future, or maybe for a Baywatch sequel in Singapore. Look at that, Sydney. We're sorry, but we're not really.
We're sorry, but we're not. Thank you for the entertainment as
Thank you for the
always.
entertainment.
And we do wish that more of our personalities in Singapore have
Yeah.
such humor that
Yeah.
bring, less great content to everyone for the masses.
Take things less seriously.
Yes.
But a serious matter over the weekend, of course, Sunday was Mother's Day, and everyone was sending messages to their mom, whether it was on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Insta Story, showing their appreciation for what their mom has done throughout their lives and being an inspiration to them. And even the National Sporting Associations got in the act as well, John.
Thanks, Mommy, for all the love and support over the years. And to all the mothers out there, Happy Mother's Day! Woo!
I just wanted to wish you and all the mothers out there a very happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
And I hope you know that I love you very, 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 very much. And hope that you have a very blessed Mother's Day.
Hi everyone, this is Mark and Tim from the diving team, and this is our mama, Carolyn Lee.
Hi.
We just want to say thanks to our mom because she's been with us from the start, taking care of us, bringing us to training, cooking for us and everything. So we just want to say thank you to her, and happy mothers to all the mothers out there.
You are really my pillar of support. To all the moms, mommy, ama out there, happy Mother's Day.
Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, especially my mom. Thank you for all your love and support.
So happy Mother's Day from the Singapore Swimming Association. STTA, Singapore Table Tennis Association, also had their very special message for all mums out there. Let's have a look.
I want to wish my mom a happy Mother's Day, and I would like to thank her for all the encouragement and support she has given me through these few years. Thank you.
Happy Mother's Day!
今天是母亲节，祝福全天下的母亲节日快乐，也祝福我的妈妈，希望她永远身体健康美丽。谢谢妈妈。
Thank you for your support throughout the years.
Hey Mom, thanks for all the encouragement and support, as well as taking care of me. Happy Mother's Day, and I love you always.
I would like to thank my mother for all these years of hard work and care for the family. Happy Mother's Day.
Yes, happy Mother's Day. And I think we had a great weekend as well, trying to celebrate it, whether it was in person or virtually because of the circuit breaker. We, of course, showed our appreciation to our mothers out there. Such a heartwarming weekend. And over the weekend as well, Team Singapore put up a video for first coaches. Tell us more about that.
That's right. This was actually done by Coach SG, which is from the Singapore Sports Institute, who launched the My First Coach campaign. So what we saw was 3 Team Singapore athletes, Jaris Goh, I believe, Shamin So, and
Yip Pin Siu.
Yeah, coming forward to share about how their parents have shaped their sporting careers and how important their roles have been being the first coaches of their lives. Let's have a look.
Tissues at the ready. Get ready to be overwhelmed.
Yeah, let's have a look.
My first coaches would bring my siblings and I to the swimming complex. I would just play in the baby pool alone. I asked my first coaches if I could learn to swim properly. So water is the ticket to my freedom.
Without my first coaches, I would have quit netball long ago. I fractured my wrist on the first netball training. My first coach taught me not to give up too easily. So when I got better, I immediately went back to the court to train, and I trained harder than before.
There was one day when my first coach decided to just take measurements of my hand. So only then I realized it was all planned carefully so that I could have my fitted and customized bowling ball. So my first training session, I came into the bowling center with full set of equipment where kids usually don't get their equipment at their first training session.
At the Beijing Paralympics, I raced two events, the 50 meters freestyle and the 50 meters backstroke. After the event, I got a silver. I was slightly disappointed. When I hugged my mom and said that I was gonna get a gold next, she didn't say anything to me. I think she didn't want to pressure me as well.
When I first started at the Singapore Sports School, it was quite a tough period for me because I had to find time to adjust, being more independent. It took me like at least 6 months to get used to it. My coach told me to use these 4 years of my life at the Singapore Sports School to mature and be more independent, and also being a professional athlete after that.
I was really excited to be in the World Cup team. What happened was played many countries and till we played against Fiji, the number 7th in the world. We were leading towards the last minute or so, and I missed the last shot. Eventually, we lost the game. So the fact that I missed that shot was still a trauma to me till probably 5 years after the competition, and I really wanted to give up netball for good. My first coach put me into a room and he told me that, hey Charmaine, this is the lowest that you can ever get, so just keep working hard and you'll get there someday. My first coaches are my mom and dad. I'm very thankful that they're always down for my games to be there for me physically. They'll fly to various countries just to support me and to know that we are here.
My parents are my first coaches and my biggest cheerleaders. For that, I'm very grateful that they have always just been very supportive and by my side throughout this whole journey. Ever since I've started on this journey of competitive swimming, they've never given me much pressure, regardless when it comes to studies or swimming or anything. They have always trusted me to make the right decisions.
My first coach also happens to be my father. That's why, to me, I feel like bowling has a huge impact in my life. My mother is the one that, it's quite embarrassing to say, but she still irons my clothes and wash all my training attire. If she can bring water and stuff, also she bring for me. But yeah, so she's the one that prepares all the behind the scene kind of work and make sure that I'm always healthy and always be at my best when I want to compete. My first coach was the one that paved the road for me to be a professional athlete.
My active parents,
my first coach.
My first coach.
My first coach.
Well, how heartwarming was that? A tear almost came to my eye there, because it's so true. Sport starts at home, and our parents play such a huge role in shaping us in our lives, particularly in the realm of sports. You, being a former professional footballer yourself, how important have your parents been in that role, in that journey?
I think the most important part of the journey was their support, obviously, from the very start. I was playing football in private academies, and I would have to wake up Saturday morning, Sunday mornings at 8 a.m. And now that we're adults, waking up on a weekend at 8 a.m., I'm like, what's going on? But for the sacrifice for your child and seeing the passion that I had for the sport, they were willing to do it, and they would stay throughout and watch me and then bring me back home. And I'll be just talking nonstop about my day. And I think just for them to see the joy and the passion that I have for the game, that's what carried them through. And I agree, your first coaches are always your parents. They are the one that drive you, inspire you to go on and pursue your passion. And all the top athletes, I think they can always look back and say that their parents in some form or another played a big role in it.
Yeah, and certainly we've heard from our Team Singapore athletes, but feel free as well to share in comments below, and as well as on our other shows that are coming up, they'll be talking about My First Coach, how important a role your parents have played as your first coach at home. We all want to hear your stories. It's something you never know. It will just inspire someone else who's going through a challenging period at home, particularly if they're not receiving the support. It's just that reminder, that they have someone that they can fall back on, and it's sometimes it's the simple things in life that kind of keep us going.
Great stuff, John. Very well said. And on to now another piece of news right now, and we thought that all sports has stopped around the world, but our very own Singaporean Charmaine Tang has won silver in the junior-senior category of the laser home run. Let me get that right. And she did it from home. This is incredible, and it was all through, I think, Zoom or through Skype. And her dogs were watching her. Her mom was recording her while she was doing it. We see it here, and that's just great stuff. I mean, this is her actually competing in the competition.
Yeah, Charmaine, of course, also a SEA Games 2019 medalist.
Yeah.
And it's certainly a very interesting piece of news that we've seen. First competition, in a higher level competition we've seen, to be honest.
Yeah.
And Team Singapore.
I mean,
winning
amazing. Virtually as well. So, we were doing stuff virtually. We're doing Zoom calls in our other episodes. But hey, you can even hold proper professional competitions using technology. It's incredible.
Which really begs the question, because we've all been asking this question about how the sports events industry or even the sports industry will be shaped after COVID-19 or as we transition out of this phase. Will we be seeing a new dawn for virtual events? Will we be seeing a new dawn, not just for esports or e-gaming, but even for actual sporting events? Will we actually be seeing a different realm in the virtual sphere happening?
That's a whole different can of worms that you open up there. I don't think that's enough to cover in this episode of Evenings with John and Duncan. We're trying to keep it light-hearted, John. What are you doing? Just trying to dress it up with all your wit and stuff and your knowledge of sport. Anyway, floorball. They are keeping active as well. The Singapore floorball women's team, they have been doing their own stay-home floorball activity. And it's very, very good of what they're doing, because it's kind of like a coaching course, and they have little text at the bottom on how you should aim your body shape in the different sessions as well. So it's almost like a coaching session by the national athletes. And these floorball girls, they are fantastic as well. They do very well in the SEA Games.
that was some sick stick handling skills there by Siti Nurhaliza.
Try saying that 10 times in a row.
That's going to be a real mouthful. I knew you were going to check that. But Duncan, you had the benefit of trying your hands on floorball for the
Yes.
first time last year. I believe it was our Floorball 101 series on which you can catch still on SG Sports TV. What was it like? How was the experience of playing floorball like?
It's not easy. You just think like you're just dribbling the ball and it's easy to hit it. It's very hard to actually strike the ball with a floorball stick to get power behind it. It's a lot of skill, a lot of practice. You have a left-handed stick, a right-handed stick, so it's just a lot of different mechanics into the game. But mad respect to the floorball team and for coaching us as well. And I wish I had that video to refer to before I made a fool of myself on that Floorball 101.
Yeah, but we'll certainly have...
Yes, it's called a drag shot, where you run and release the ball at the same time. Okay.
It is the Wednesday report where we have a look at social media and what's been going on with our Team Singapore athletes and just general fitness ambassadors of Singapore and what has been going on this week, John.
That's right, Duncan. We have a look at what's trending online in the sports and fitness world. And let's have a look first at something that's been going on for a while now.
Yes.
But we have seen a couple more people try out the challenge.
Yeah, it's called the Don't Rush Challenge. And it started, I think, in America with the girls who coming out in their normal state, maybe just waking up from their sleep, having a little brush on them and then brushing onto the camera and then they just be all glammed up after that. And we've seen different variations of it. We've seen several variations with our Team Singapore athletes, but it's gone on to a different sphere right now. And I think the Singapore Sports School have done their very own version of this.
That's right, slightly different version of the Don't Rush Challenge. Not exactly rushing back to training or school at the moment, but certainly making the most of the situation.
That's right, they're just throwing around the bag and each bag has...
So what an ingenious way to get the students engaged. Not exactly sure if this was a student initiative or something that was initiated by the school, but certainly carried on at Singapore Sports School's platforms. Of course, we recently had an interview with Sportswoman of the Year, Martina Veloso, who's also a shooter. And if you did miss that episode, do check it out on Evenings with John and Duncan on Get Active TV and One Play Sports.
Great stuff by the Singapore Sports School. And I think we also have a video from the Singapore women's football team who've also taken part in the Don't Rush Challenge. And they have done it almost true to what it really means, what the Don't Rush Challenge really means. And they were just in their normal outfit at home, some strange outfits you will see in the video, and suddenly a football will come, they'll throw the football to the camera, and then they will be in their football kits. And this is what we love to see, some great skills, some great acting as well from the Singapore women's football team.
Well, something I've really noticed about our athletes is that they all can have a second career beyond athlete life in something. Acting, yoga instructors. I absolutely love how they can pretty much carry off anything. Multi-talented, these people.
Well, everyone now is on Instagram, is on TikTok, right? So they have to bring out their creative side. They, I think, more comfortable in front of the camera, which is great for us. So when the time comes when they do get back onto the pitch, when we have an interview with them, I think they should be confident in being in front of the camera. Amelia there, in doing a little bit of baking perhaps, and now changing into her football kit. Nice juggling skills there.
And I think credit goes to the FAS. I think a lot has been said in previous years about the women side of the sport not being profiled enough, not
Yes.
getting enough support as well. But I think in recent years, we really have seen a significant growth, both in terms of the coverage as well as the actual highlighting of the the sport in Singapore. Not just for the men's, but also the women's game as well.
Ah, that's right. And I think we will be featuring one of the Singapore national team footballers very, very soon on this particular show, Evenings with John and Duncan, and look out for that. You have to say, they have the skills. You can't say they are just, not as good or they don't have the ability. These girls, they work hard, and, even in club football where they play, apart from the national team, this is a good level of football, John. Really, really, really good. And I think Singapore, not quite up there with the world's best, but developing at a very good rate, and perhaps challenging the best in Asia one day.
And there you have it, our Team Singapore footballers having a ball of a time.
All right, so in case you missed it, Kelly and Barbara, it wasn't a test. It is for sure. We want you to do it on the morning show tomorrow. Can you do it live on TV? And, show us what you've got with the No Hands Challenge. Remember, no cheating.
No Hands Challenge. We'll be watching you. Definitely. I think we'll certainly enjoy that episode.
All right, finally on this episode, we are going back to table tennis, and we want to get an advantage over other people any way we can during circuit breaker. The athletes are keeping fit, they're doing their home-based workouts. But for table tennis, players, it's a bit difficult, right? Unless you have a table tennis table at home. And that is what Cassandra and Clarence Chu have at home, a table tennis table. Try saying that 10 times in a row. And they are just going at it. So this is the perfect opportunity for them to just step up the skills ahead of competition when it does restart, because not all athletes will have a table at home to practice on.
Yeah, the Chu siblings, table tennis at home.
And have a look at the cabinet, by the way. Why is there a head in the cabinet?
Well, that's probably because you said trying to get ahead of their opponents.
Very
Duncan.
good. It is actually a reflection of the television.
Well, terrible puns aside, we certainly hope you enjoyed this episode of Evenings with John and Duncan. We will be having an exciting episode of the Athletes Game Show coming up at the end of this week. It's a football edition, I believe.
Yes, Battle of the Sexes, Lion versus Lioness. It is the Football Association of Singapore edition of the Athletes Game Show. Really looking forward to this one. And it's anybody's guess who will win. You guys will just have to tune in on Friday at 9 p.m. Evenings with John and Duncan. Have a very good evening.
Take care. Stay safe.